Grant here for Comics Crusaders, here to introduce you to someone that you are going to want to know. And he's going to talk about what they do and probably the best use of cosplay I've ever seen. I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Grant Poplowskis from the League of Enchantment. How you doing, Grant?
Great, thank you. Appreciate you having me.
Appreciate you being here. Okay, first question I have that I'm sure everybody wants to know is what inspired this idea? What inspired you to use cosplay the way you do? And maybe you want to tell our viewers a little bit about what the League of Enchantment is actually about.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the League of Enchantment, we're a 501c3 nonprofit with the mission to bring smiles to kids and kids at heart through cosplay. So our main objective is to visit kids in hospitals, children's hospitals all over, dressed as popular superheroes and princesses. We just try to bring a little bit of joy to them. We always bring them a care package when we come visit. Other activities that we do, we participate in community events. We work with Make-A-Wish. We do visit kids in hospice from time to time. But the group actually originated in Michigan. It was back in 2018, I believe, that they started. And then we started our Chicago chapter in 2022.
Awesome. I'm just pulling up a pic so everybody can see what you're talking about.
Yeah, so that's actually our Michigan team that you're looking at right now. Some great people there, very dedicated and very big hearts.
Awesome, awesome. So how did that idea get started in, like I said, we're going to take this cosplay that we love, but we're going to use it to help serve kids?
Well, I think the idea is that we want kids to believe. We want kids to have that experience that they've met their favorite character, whether it be a princess or a superhero. We just want to inspire a little bit of hope in them. We want to give them a good day. We know that sometimes in the hospital they're at tremendous odds. We know some of these kids that we see in hospice are in even more dire straits than the kids we see in hospitals. So our goal is just to spread smiles and bring some happiness to people when we can. And I don't know, we all have connections to the characters that we portray. We all have something about them that we enjoy. And I think that it's just a privilege to us to be able to bring these characters to life for the kids.
What character do you portray? Although it's kind of obvious with your look at them guns, but what character do you portray?
I generally do Thor.
Awesome.
So I started my own journey through cosplay completely backwards. You know, most people start dressing up to go to conventions or parties or things like that. I was doing a community event where I was in charge of the event, and we were showing an outdoor movie of one of the Avengers movies, and I decided to hire character actors to come and play the Avengers for everybody, for the kids. And I looked high and low, and I could not find anybody to be Thor. And you know, I knew that we had to have a Thor for that night, so I just decided that I was going to buy a cheap costume that night and be Thor myself. And something clicked inside of me that night, and the little kids were running up to me. One particular little boy just completely inspired me because he came up to me like 4 or 5 times throughout the night, just wanted to talk about everything Thor to me. He was telling me about his video games and his action figures and all of Thor's lightning moves in the games, and I just loved it so much because he was completely convinced that I was Thor. And I remember having that experience when I was a kid with my favorite superhero. And I remember what it was like to just be in awe of their presence. And I just, right then and there, I just knew that I had to keep doing this. And I knew that there were organizations like the League of Enchantment out there that visited kids in hospitals. And I decided right then and there that I was going to keep doing this, that if I could get these kids to believe that I was Thor in a cheap, $50 costume from Party City, that once I got some better a better costume and dedicated myself to it a little bit more, that I can do a lot more with this. And so my goal is, no matter what kid I'm meeting, where I'm meeting them, or how often I meet kids, I just want to show them that Thor cares about them. That's my primary objective.
That is totally awesome. That's such a life-changing experience when you get to meet your favorite hero and they're interacting with you, and like you said,
Yeah,
they're showing you that they care. That's incredible. Now, this is how we met. I actually met Grant at the last Capricorn,
right.
and I saw him with Cap, and I think it was Iron Man, and I ran right up to him, almost like I was a kid myself, and said, "You got to tell me more about this." And then once he told me what it was they did, I said, "We have got to get you introduced to our collective audience," because I
Right.
was just so moved in a positive direction by what he was saying, and I just think that's great. Now, uh, how does someone go about if someone was interested in joining the League of Enchantment? If they're already a cosplayer, but they want to connect with the league, how would they do that?
Well, we would invite them to take a look at our website, leagueofenchantment.org. And we have all of our forms, and our information is right there. So you can actually apply to be a member right online, right on the website. Um, we we get back to people almost immediately, within a day or so, and we send them our code of conduct, and we send them all the information that they need to know about being a member. And then what they do is they go through an extensive background check, because we are visiting kids in hospitals. Safety is of the utmost priority to us. And then, we check their references, we evaluate them, and if all is clear, they are invited to become a member of our team. And then they would submit their costumes for approval too, because we don't accept those Party City costumes like I mentioned before. Um, we have very high standards, because the idea is that we are actually being realistic interpretations of these characters. We're not just putting on a cheap costume for some laughs here. We want to bring them to life as realistically as possible. So we do have standards for every costume. Every costume is evaluated by our team, and it's approved in one of several categories for where they can actually use it.
That's really, really cool. Really, really cool. Now, tell me, what have been some of your biggest challenges in making this work?
I think some of the biggest challenges is we get more requests than we can always accommodate. Although our team is growing, we have over 50 members here in Chicago now, so that's always amazing. But we're all volunteers, so we have to, realize that our volunteers all have lives outside of this too. They've got full-time jobs and families and things like that. So it's tough sometimes to get commitments from people. And I always say that I want people to want to be on our team. I want people to want to do this. And I think that our most dedicated members that are showing up for all of our events, they're amazing people with huge hearts that just want to do this for the same reasons that I do. There's a lot of fulfillment that I think that we all get out of doing this kind of stuff. But yeah, I would say that getting people to participate is probably the biggest challenge for us, because not everybody feels comfortable interacting with kids. Some people just want to be cosplayers that go to cons, or they like dressing up and competing in the contests, or being on Instagram or and that kind of stuff, which is totally fine. We always respect that. It does take a certain type of person to want to do this and have the ability to do this. So we're just thrilled when people want to be a part of it.
That's a really good point. You do have to have both a heart for working with children and some skill in
Yeah.
dealing with children. I know that because I'm a teacher myself. And
Are you?
so, yeah, yeah. And so everybody doesn't want to do it, and everybody can't really do it,
Mhm.
especially on the same level. So I can
Right.
definitely relate to that. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. Let me ask you this. Walk me through a typical day in the life visit. Like, you've got a connection for today, or, you've got a show and you go into a hospice, what does your day look like as you walk through that?
We usually will all arrive. Let's say we're doing a hospital visit. We'll arrive in the lobby. They usually allow between 4 and 10 members, depending on which hospital we're going to. We usually keep it to about 4 or 5 people. So we'll convene there. The child life specialist will take us up to the kids area, the kids floor, essentially. And then we'll just start visiting the rooms. They will kind of be walking with us, telling us um, who the kids are, how old they are, so that we can kind of prepare which type of a care package to give them. Because we always try to bring a care package that not only matches the characters who are doing the visit. So, for example, when I go, we bring Thor care packages that have a Thor action figure in them.
Wow.
And the reason for that is because it's been proven that um, it, just a little bit of a reminder for these kids to know that when they look at this Thor toy, they remember the day that they met Thor. So we kind of try to tie it together that way. But then we also try to make sure that it's age appropriate, and if a girl wants a princess care package versus a superhero care package, we try to ask them, but we also try to prepare ahead of time a little bit. So we go to the rooms. If we're allowed actually inside, we'll go in and we'll start talking to the kids. We always do it in character as much as possible. We try not to break character ever. Occasionally there'll be skeptics, but we'll visit with them for about 5 to 10 minutes. We'll take a picture with them. We'll talk to them. We never ask them why they're in the hospital. We're never told why they're in the hospital.
Hmm.
We never say things like "We hope you feel better" or "How you doing," because some of them have pretty serious conditions that we don't want to talk about. We don't need to hear that. We're just there to cheer them up and make sure they're having a good day, or try to have a good day anyway. As good as a day as you can have in the hospital, I guess.
Hmm. Hmm.
So generally we visit. It depends. We did a Christmas Eve visit, and we saw almost 30 kids there. So we were there for several hours that day. Um, but other times we go and they'll just be like about 4 or 5 rooms filled. So it's always different.
That's really, really important that you have a sensitivity to what you're saying to them and a sensitivity to making the experience as real as possible.
Absolutely.
So yeah, yeah,
And
because
it's very similar when we're doing a community event. We work with police departments for their national night out, or we work with other charities for some of their community events and things, and things like that. We'll just kind of be in a large group together, and the kids will start running up to us. I get a lot of kids that run up screaming, "Oh my gosh, it's Thor!" That kind of thing.
mhm,
And they'll come over and we'll talk to them for a little bit, and they'll want to hold the hammer and take pictures and that sort of stuff. So most of our interactions with kids, they last between 2 and 5 minutes, and then they're off to meet the next character or do something else at the events. So they're generally short, but occasionally you'll have a kid that'll really attach themselves to you, and they'll just want to talk to you for the entire time that they're there, and they want to know everything about you. And I get all kinds of questions about what it was like to be on Asgard, and who my best friend on the Avengers is, and all that kind of stuff. So it's fun.
mhm.
We
Wow.
have a great time doing it.
So does anybody ever ask you to do like Thor-like things, like call some lightning down, or?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. And obviously we don't do that because we don't want anybody to get hurt.
Mhm.
So we have a whole list of reasons why we can't do that. Either the event organizers have asked us not to use our powers that day, or we'll refer to the Sokovia protocols. Or one thing that I kind of like to do is I'll get into character, and I'll be like, all right, everyone, back up, back up. He wants to see lightning. And then I'll pull in Captain America, and Captain America then will say, "Oh nope, Thor, we talked about this. You can't do that." So
Wow.
it's a lot
That's
of fun.
cool that you brought up Sokovia. So are you a big fan of the Avengers films as well?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I don't think that I would be doing Thor as often as I do if I wasn't a huge fan. And most of us are, we have this one character that we just really relate to and that we just love to portray regularly. For example, one of my close friends, she does Captain Marvel all the time, and she's
Hmm.
an amazing Captain Marvel, and that's her favorite character. So it's her default. She plays other characters too, but she will be Captain Marvel. I would say at least 90% of the time.
Okay. All right. You answered it a little bit before, but tell me some of the other charities or groups that you tend to work with.
Oh gosh, we do a huge Toys for Tots drive every year. We generally get about 1,000 toys at our drive. We work with Wedstra, which is the special needs organization nearby. We've worked with Easter Seals, Community Santa Project, Make a Wish. Gosh, we have a whole list of them. I wish I could think of more off the top of my head, but there's about 20 different organizations that we work with.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So, last question. How long do you see this going on in your future? Like, is this, you're a lifer? Like, I'm cosplaying Thor for life, or like, what's your long range vision?
I'm 45 now, so I don't think that I'm going to be able to play Thor forever. I'm hoping that I can get a good 10 years out of it before a younger, buffer guy comes in and takes my place. But maybe I'll transition to Odin at that point.
I
We'll
was
see.
trying to say, just jump on over to Odin. That's not like that's a problem.
But I
Awesome.
have a blast. I'm gonna be Thor as long as I possibly can.
All right. All right. So tell our audience again where we can find you online.
You can find us on at leagueofenchantment.org, which is our website. We are also on social media. We're on Instagram and we're on Facebook. Just look up League of Enchantment Chicago.
Great, great. All right, Grant. Well, I want to thank you so much for this interview, man. I definitely want to let as many people as possible know about you because this is such a great thing. It ties together so many worlds and it's such a positive idea with such a positive impact. So thank you again for giving us this interview.
Thank you, David. We appreciate you helping spread the word.
All right. We'll see you next time.
All right.